It's un-Falcon believable coverage that you won't get anywhere else. This is BG24 Sports.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gary Galbraith.
And I'm Christy Kopanis. Thanks for joining us tonight. The Bowling Green State University football team traveled to Mississippi State this weekend. The Falcons and the Bulldogs were ready for this matchup, and the Falcons went into Saturday's game on a 4-game win streak, while the Bulldogs entered the game coming off a loss to LSU. The Bulldogs were able to get points on the board early with a 75-yard touchdown in the first quarter. The Falcons were able to get points on the board in the second and the third. Unfortunately, the Falcons were unable to pull out the win. The Falcons lost 21-20, bringing the Falcons' record to 5-2.
Moving on to some European football, which we call soccer here in the U.S., the BGSU men's soccer team hosted the Northern Illinois Huskies. Moving straight to the second half, the Falcons had a shot at the penalty kick, but senior Anthony Grant was unable to make the goal. Later in the game, Grant scored the single goal of the game, leading the Falcons to 1-0 victory. Grant's goal was BGSU's first goal against the Huskies in nearly 6 years. With this victory, the Falcons improved to 3-5 with 4 ties and 2-1 in the MAC.
Well, the women's soccer team also played this weekend. The Falcons competed against the Toledo Rockets on Sunday. Game started out great for the Falcons when BGSU redshirt freshman goalkeeper Lauren Caudell was able to make stops on the Rockets' leading scorer. But the effort with the Falcons was not enough to hold off the Rockets. Toledo won the game 2-0, leaving the Falcons with an 0-11 and 1 tie for the season and 0-5 and 1 tie in the MAC.
The BGSU volleyball team has some great matchups this weekend. The Falcons took on Buffalo Bulls Friday. It was a hard-fought match for both teams, but the Falcons were able to pull off the win in 5 sets with a 3-2 victory over the Bulls. Moving on to Saturday's games, the Akron Zips came to the Stroh, and the Falcons held them to 3 sets. BG dominated the sets with 2 25-19 wins and a 25-16 victory. The Falcons improved to 8-9 overall and 5-1 in the MAC.
The men's ice hockey team traveled to New York on Saturday. The Falcons took on 16th-ranked Union College. This was the second game of the series to open the season. Union College scored back-to-back power play goals in the second period to pull away a 5-3 win. Power plays were the difference as BGSU was only 1 for 5 with a man advantage. The Falcons are now 0-1-1 on the season. Their home opener is tomorrow night against Ohio State. It will be a non-conference game and puck drops at 7:07.
The Bowling Green tennis team played in the ITA Midwest Regional Championship this weekend in Ann Arbor. 2 senior Falcons shine. Nikki Chiricosta and Emily Rowland drew a first-round bye and advanced to the second round of the doubles bracket. Chiricosta and Rowland defeated Northwestern in the second round, but their tournament came to an end when they lost Saturday to University of Michigan's doubles team.
And following the break, Gary and I will be joined by 2 BG24 reporters to discuss this interesting weekend in NCAA football. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. Joining Christy and I in studio is reporter Jackie Elliott and reporter Katie Wernke. Right now, we're going to discuss some NCAA football. There were a lot of great matchups, but we're going to jump right into it with our very own Falcons with a devastating loss by 1 point to Mississippi State. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it was a good game for Bowling Green. Matt Johnson had an outstanding game. For the 3rd time this year, he has been named the MAC Player of the Week. Overall, I think it was a good showing, trying to upset Mississippi State in their own stadium on homecoming. Just couldn't pull through it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't ask for a better showing from these group of guys. I mean, passing game was on, definitely. Rushing game was on. Travis Green led the Falcons with 103 yards on 15 carries. I mean, that's a great game. Also, receiver Jared Cohen had 51 yards on 5 catches. I mean, the offense is so balanced. They have so many different threats. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. Matt Johnson can run the ball himself.
Different look with Matt Johnson.
Right. So, I mean, the offense is just so versatile. So, I think that is just a great thing for them, especially going into the MAC. All the MAC matchups they have coming up in the next few weeks, they should be doing pretty good.
Yeah, and their defense looked good against an SEC team.
Yes, defense.
Boo Boo Gates had an interception, and just overall our defense was really solid. And it helps when it's against an SEC team because it shows you what we can do in the MAC.
Exactly, and I was really happy to see that even after Jerry Gates was ejected from the game for targeting, that the defense was still able to pull together. Brian Sutton stepped up huge and came in and made big plays and stepped in for Jerry. So I think that shows a lot about how strong the defensive core is, especially with them being now ranked #1 nationally in red zone defense. That's great.
That's very big. That's very big. And going along with Ryan Burbrick, I know he wants that last catch back because, it would have been a different ball game if he would have caught that last pass.
Yeah, it was so close. It was just by a couple of inches. Had he have gotten it, you never know. You never know.
Well,
but it was a great game nonetheless. Good job, Falcons.
Yeah. Going to move on to Penn State and Michigan. Big upset.
Great game.
Big upset.
Great game.
4 overtimes?
Yeah.
4.
I was really surprised that Michigan couldn't pull it out. You would think that veterans, like Michigan, their veteran kicker, could pull it out, but he didn't. He missed that field goal. Definitely.
I know Brendan Gibbons is trying to replay that one. 3rd overtime, he misses a 33-yard field goal.
33.
That is just a play that you should make, but he didn't.
Right.
That cost him.
Well, in an atmosphere like Happy Valley, I mean,
Their fans were intense all game.
Whiteout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Especially after everything that happened last year with Sandusky and the bad connotation that Penn State has been getting the past year. I think this one,
it's
will
good
put
for
them back
them to
in the
rebound.
spotlight.
Yeah.
I think it was just a great game overall by both teams. I mean, especially by the freshman quarterback, Hackenberg. I mean, he's a freshman. He came in. I mean, that was a game where star players are made. He had 305 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. And even after every interception, he came back and acted like nothing happened and came back and led his team down the field and moved the chains. So that just shows how great of a potential quarterback he has to be, and he's only a freshman.
And to only be 18 years old
18.
and to handle that poise that he has already. Good job.
Wow.
Yeah, and 2 amazing catches by their wide receiver, Allen Robinson. I mean, over 2 defenders. That just shows his great athleticism. So.
Well, Penn State moved to 4-2 on the season, and Michigan moves to 5-1 now. So.
Welcome back. Now, before the break, we were discussing collegiate football, but now we're going to turn and talk about professional football. There were some great games that took place on Sunday. Let's start with the Browns and the Lions.
Wow, the Browns started off very good in the first half, 17-7. And it took a wild turn after that.
Being a Detroit native and a Lions fan, I'm ecstatic that we beat the Cleveland Browns. It was a rough game, though. It was very, very unorganized and messy. And the Lions had several drop passes that were right in their arms. And as a receiver, a fullback, tight end, you have to catch those balls. I mean, I'm pretty sure Matthew Stafford was not happy. But Reggie Bush had a great game. He had 135 yards on the game with 121 yards in the second half. That just goes to show how great of a running back he is. And he pretty much put the team on his back that game, especially with Calvin Johnson not being 100%.
Definitely being hurt.
So, Pettigrew had a great game also.
I think the Browns also need to look to see what they want to do with Whedon as quarterback, because he made some choices that weren't in their favor, and just an indecisive player, and I think they need to figure out what they want to do.
Now that Hoyer is out of the question, that you focus on it's either Whedon or you figure it out, because they can't keep going back and forth all season.
True. I mean, he started off pretty good, with 2 touchdowns, and then at the end of the game, you start throwing picks, and you can't have that in this league. So,
Now for the Patriots Saints, Katie?
Yes, I definitely watched that game. Tom Brady, with 5 seconds left, he makes that pass to Tompkins, who scores for the touchdown. That is the Tom Brady that I'm used to watching on Sundays. And I think the Patriots have a very young core of receivers now after they lost so many, and Gronkowski's still out. Amendola was hurt in this game. So they're really looking on Tompkins and Dobson to make those plays. And I think this week we finally saw them stepping out and taking the responsibility that they need to take. With the Patriots, though, they did lose some key players. They lost Don Connolly. They lost Aqib Talib, who shut out Jimmy Graham with the Saints offense. So hopefully they'll be back and healthy, and hopefully Gronkowski will come back. But definitely it was a great game for the Patriots.
Just imagine how amazing the Patriots would be if they were completely healthy. I mean, they're not even at 100%, and they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, before Katie said their names, I didn't even know who the receivers were. You know, Tom Brady turning nobodies into somebodies. I mean, Kimbrel Tompkins. I mean, I don't even know this kid, but
So, I mean, after losing Welker and you lost Danny Woodhead, and like I said, Gronkowski's still out, you get to know these players
and
because you have to call them. Everything with Aaron Hernandez. It's been a rough start, but I think they've managed to make it to 5-1. And I think yesterday's game, I think that is definitely how they will start to play throughout the season now. I think they've found their ground.
Now, whether you watched the Texans game or not, when Schwab went down with the injury and the fans cheered, what are your thoughts on that?
Wow, I thought that was a horrible fan conduct. I mean, who cheers when when a player is injured? Like, it's just so heart-wrenching to me, especially for him as a player. How does he feel knowing that the fans were happy that he's injured and not knowing how serious the injury is? And then I guess they wanted the second string quarterback to come in, but he came in and did the same exact thing, right after threw a pick six. So
TJ Yates comes in, and Ogletree for the Rams takes it 98 yards back.
Right.
So I don't know how happy they are now that Schaub's out, but
and I can't understand it. You know, Schaub's a great guy in the community. You know, he does everything in Houston, so I didn't understand that.
I think it just reflects bad on their fans in general. Exactly. It doesn't matter if you like the guy or not. It looks bad in the fans more than anything. Now the Chiefs and the Broncos are still undefeated at 6-0.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think it's great.
Peyton?
This is Peyton Manning.
You know, I'm gonna get Andy Reid. Andy Reid. You know, I think Philadelphia is beating herself up about letting Andy Reid go. You know, after seeing what Andy Reid can do. You know, he's done it for a long time in Philadelphia, but the Chiefs are 6-0.
Yeah, they're obviously doing something right.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great discussion, everyone. I want to thank Jackie and Katie for coming into studio with us. And after the break, we will have some postseason MLB action. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. We're going to switch things up because now we're going to discuss some baseball. Joining us for this is reporter Tim Sirenko. Now, over the weekend, there were some pretty intense games in the American League and the National League Championship Series. You know, we're going to get started with the Detroit Tigers and the Boston Red Sox. You know,
I went to bed at probably 7th inning thinking that the game was over, and I wake up the next day and I hear that, man, Poppy hits a grand slam at the bottom of the 8th, 2 outs.
As a Tigers fan, I was in disbelief. I could not believe they threw a fastball down the middle to tie it. I was not happy.
And the worst thing was that was the first pitch of the at-bat. I mean, your closer comes in to hopefully finish off the inning, and grand slam, boom, the game's tied.
Up 5-0.
Yeah, and it's hard because Scherzer pitched such a good game that it comes in and Benoit just basically ruined it. Their bullpen definitely is struggling, and you can see it, and I don't know if they even do get past the Red Sox, if they'll be able to have a good showing in the World Series because their bullpen is just not that strong.
Like you said, Scherzer had 7 innings, 2 hits, and 13 strikeouts. I mean, I know that was on this last thing when he left the game, you know, to lose the game there.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you ask of that?
You got to give it to the Red Sox, though. Like, to come back, to be held to 1 hit in the first game, to come back and win this and even up the series. Now it takes things to Detroit, so maybe a little home field advantage. You never know, but the Tigers can't get their bullpen right. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you have home field advantage at that point.
True.
I think that's what we need to look at, too, with Justin Verlander coming in for the Tigers. I mean, that's the ace pitcher, so hopefully the bullpen can tough it out. I think being in Detroit, though, it should help when we got that home field advantage. And you did win the first game in Boston, so I mean they can do it. They just have to pull through.
Yeah.
I do have to say that their offense is starting to come together. I mean, Mike Avila coming in with the big home run with that. Miguel Cabrera slowly regaining his strength back, getting to be the power hitter that he once was before. I mean, their offense is starting to come back together now. And
Torrey Hunter nearly caught that grand slam.
Yeah, he
diving over
did.
the fence like that.
That's great effort.
Yeah, it was a great effort. Now, I mean, the Tigers play Tuesday. It's a 4 o'clock game. We'll see. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win?
I'm about to go with the Red Sox. I'm going
to go with Red Sox too. I think that was a big momentum change, so I think Boston will take it.
I'm biased, so Tigers.
I mean, despite me not liking the Tigers, I think right now the Red Sox are the hottest team in baseball right now. I mean, their hitting is coming together, their pitching is coming together. I think they're going to go all the way this year.
And that was the first Grand Slam in postseason history to come after the 8th inning. So,
well, and now in the National League, the Cardinals and Dodgers.
I think this one is going to be a great matchup. I know the Cardinals have taken the first 2 games, and they move to LA now. The Dodgers usually get it home. The Cardinals ace, Adam Wainwright, is going to be pitching tonight against a pretty good pitcher for the Dodgers, Rue. In the regular season, he has a 3.0 average ERA. And I know Carlos Beltran has been a big hitter for the Cardinals so far. And these 2 teams met up in the regular season. And he completely shut Beltran out. He was 0-3. So it'll be interesting.
What's key to this series is Hanley Ramirez. He's day-to-day, well, questionable for today with the ribs. So I think if Hanley Ramirez play today, they can pull away this win.
It's also going to be hard for the Dodgers, though, because, I mean, you pitched your 2 aces in Kershaw and Greinke, and now you have to rely on your other pitchers now who haven't been that strong during the season. So we'll see how that plays out.
True.
Hopefully, I think that the best matchup for whether the Tigers or the Red Sox win, I think that the best matchup is the Dodgers. Whether you're a Tigers fan or a Red Sox fan, I think that if you're looking for someone to come out of the NL, you want it to be the Dodgers.
I think it's because we've seen the Cardinals in the postseason, I mean, many times now. And,
many times.
They always seem to pull through, especially David Freese. He hasn't been a big player in the offseason, but he's done great in the postseason.
Well, we were having some great discussion today, and I would like to thank reporters Katie Wernke and Tim Krinko, and to Jackie Elliott for joining us. And coming up next, Gary and I will take a look at the Falcons' upcoming week in sports. We'll be right back. Well, there's another action-packed weekend for the Falcons. Staying at home, the ice hockey team will host Colgate University and compete Friday and Saturday with both matches at 7:07. BG is looking to hold their own. Leading scorer Ryan Carpenter is out with a wrist injury. And this Saturday, the men's rugby team will play at Deutsche Perry Stadium as the Falcons host NIU Huskies at 1 o'clock. Then the volleyball team will dig for the cure. The team's annual fundraiser is Saturday night at the Stroh, where the Falcons will take on Central Michigan at 5 p.m.
And traveling this weekend is the women's soccer team on Friday. They head to New York to take on Buffalo. The Falcons still looking to snag their first victory of the season. And lastly, men's soccer takes the field on Sunday. The Falcons will make the trip down to North Carolina to take on Davidson. That's a busy weekend for the Falcons. And as always, we will have those results and recaps for you next Monday. Well, that's all we have for BG24 Sports. Be sure to join us tomorrow night for BG24 News with Madeline Finney and Dominique Hicks.
And if you have any comments or suggestions, visit our website at bg24news.org, or you can visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/BG24Sports. I'm Christy Kopanis.
And I'm Gary Galbraith. Have a good night, everyone.